All about style. You can find the style guide on the RCTLE-Projects SharePoint site. It is located in the Documents section in the BPM folder. There you will see the style guide folder, which houses the guide. Brevity. Be succinct. Communication should be meaningful to anyone presenting or receiving the message. Avoid technical jargon and instead focus on brevity and clarity of language. Here are some examples of clear, concise communication. Instead of saying, according to our records, say, we find. Instead of, at your earliest convenience, say, now. I think you get the gist. Brevity is key. Consider that it takes 1/10 of a second to form an impression. 15 seconds is the average time spent on a web page, and 20% of content is all a reader will view, and 80% of people will never scroll below the fold. Make your words count. I highly recommend The Elements of Style, the edition by Strunk and White, but don't take my word for it. Time named it as one of the 100 most influential books. Consistency. Be consistent in your writing. Define terms and always use them in the same manner. Keep writing professional and use a formal style. To improve engagement, use active voice and address the reader as you instead of the user. Avoid the use of contractions, colloquialisms, and idioms. Only use common abbreviations when clearly understood by the intended audience. Clearly define acronyms in the documentation so readers understand the words that the letters represent. Spell out the words the first time a term is used, with the acronym in parentheses. After the initial presentation, use the acronym by itself, with no parentheses. For example, we use Canvas, a learning management system, produced by Instructure. When documenting complex procedures, use screen captures to provide visual references to the reader. Consider the purpose, actions, steps, and application reference when delineating procedures. Give attention to readability and ease of interpretation. Use a numeric list to denote sequential steps in a process. Each line should contain a new step. Refrain from combining steps into a single line. Keep each step as brief as possible and strive to reduce the number of steps in the process. After each step, state the result the user should expect to see or experience. This format makes it easier for the end user to know when the step completes correctly. Use bold to indicate a user action. For example, select the Close button. Close would be bolded. Write for a universal audience. Instead of saying click, use choose or select. Not everyone uses a mouse, especially now with smartphone technology. Avoid directional terms such as up, down, left, or right. This is challenging for users with cognitive impairments. Instead, identify the area, such as the dashboard, global navigation, sidebar, and course navigation areas in Canvas. State the name of the area exactly as it is identified using proper case. Calling it something else is confusing to someone using a screen reader or voice commands. Additional universal design tips are: simplify tasks. Use tables only for data. When used for layout, it is confusing to someone using assistive devices. Use guided or contextual links. Instead of click here, say, use the Canvas guide, where Canvas guide is linked. Adhere to Level A of the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG 2.1. A link is provided in the text. Use the checklist to verify conformance of your content, and use images to reinforce concepts. Always use alt tags for images to aid assistive devices in reading the content, and optimize your images to keep page load time to a minimum. Use images sparingly to assist in clarifying information. Avoid using images for obvious visual components. Avoid using scrolling marquees, animated GIFs, and external photo slideshow plugins. A caption should be associated with each stock photo used. Be sure the caption conforms to copyright license. Generally, the format will consist of the word photo followed by a colon, then a space, the author, and the provider of the stock photo placed inside of brackets. Here is an example. Only used approved video services. Avoid embedding video in a page, as this inherently limits access and can cause other issues. Provide transcripts for all videos. Use of transcripts ensures they are accessible to persons who may be hearing impaired or unable to take advantage of an audio segment. When possible, videos should be closed captioned. If there is on-screen written text that is not spoken, this must be added to the closed caption. This way, an assistive device can then read that text back to the listener. Additional standards are listed in the style guide.